Subaru has always been a good fit for Australian consumers. The brand is a total purveyor of affordable and accessible adventure lifestyle cars, and the XV here is at the total pointy end of it, blending the success of the brand's Impreza hatch and sedan range with the practicality of its lifted wagons. The XV has been around for a while now, so what we're here to figure out is whether this model year 21 update can keep it in the fight in a notoriously tough small SUV segment. For this review, we'll be looking at the full Subaru XV range, so if you want to skip ahead, we'll throw some chapter markers up on screen now. You can skip ahead to the part that interests you, and if you're watching on YouTube, they'll be in the description below as well. Also, there'll be a full written breakdown over on carsguide.com.au, and if you are watching on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon if you're enjoying our videos to stay up to date with all of our latest content. First things first, the XV range is split into 4 variants, and there are now 2 drivetrains to choose from. Before we delve into it, you can see the pricing and specs for each confusingly named variant on your screen now. It's worth noting right away that the new hybrid option is only available as an L or an S. The range has been mildly updated for the 2021 model year, with Subaru changing the grille design and alloy wheel design for each grade. While under the skin, every grade now also gets the so-called SI Drive Sport mode and a slightly reworked suspension tune. It's a story of not altering what ain't broken though, with every XV still being well equipped. Even the base car is all-wheel drive, scores 17-inch alloy wheels, a smattering of displays on the inside, plus keyless entry and push-start ignition. Read the full review over on carsguide.com.au for a rundown of all of its features. But it's tough for us to recommend this base car as it's the only one which misses out on the excellent EyeSight safety suite and significantly larger touchscreen. Next up is the 2.0i-L, which adds the aforementioned larger screen, upgraded seat trim, and crucial EyeSight safety features, despite only a slight price bump. Previously, this car was our pick of the range. Then there's the car you see here, the 2.0i Premium. Previously adding just a sunroof and sat-nav, this grade now also brings heated wing mirrors, a front parking camera, and the full safety suite complete with blind spot monitoring and reverse emergency braking. While it does bring a bit of a price hike over the already great 2.0i-L, we're happy that the full safety suite is now available in a lesser grade, making this one our new pick of the range. Finally, topping off the range is the 2.0i-S. It gains extended functionality for its X-Mode all-wheel drive system, electrically adjustable leather-appointed seats with heating for the front 2 passengers, some trim upgrades throughout the cabin, larger 18-inch alloy wheels, and auto power folding wing mirrors with memory and reverse dipping function. While the 2.0i-S carries yet another price hike, pushing the XV well into the $40,000 territory, this full-fat version still undercuts top-spec versions of many of its rivals. Then there's the hybrid. It can be chosen only in L or S grades and matches the petrol car specification almost exactly, with the only exterior giveaways being the e-Boxer badges and silver highlights. You can get fun colours across all grades, while the hybrid versions are available in the unique Lagoon Blue you see here. You can read a more detailed spec breakdown of each grade in the review on carsguide.com.au, but for now, let's take a look at design. You've probably figured it out by now, but the XV doesn't really look like an SUV at all. It really is just an Impreza hatch that's been lifted up and has had a bunch of plastic cladding thrown on. And that's an iconic Subaru trait. The brand has always been successful selling SUVs that don't really look like SUVs at all. Despite that, there are hints of this car's ability to get a bit more rough and tumble than your average hatch, with loads of plastic cladding bits and aggressive approach and departure angles. Inside and Subarus are really unique as well. They don't really follow trends of other automakers and go it alone with a bit of a distinct style. I really like the Subaru chunky steering wheel. It's like a bumper car. It's like big and thick and has this nice leather on it and loads of buttons as well. I like the unusual for the small SUV segment, nice wide seats in here with unusually good trim as well for something in this price bracket. There's a nice crisp large multimedia screen on most grades, and everything is kind of clad in soft touch surfaces, which again is unusual at this price. Overall though, the interior look really communicates the idea that the XV is tough and capable, and few cars in this class feel anything like it. Next, let's take a look at practicality. Despite the XV's relatively small exterior footprint, the space in the cabin is actually really good. I like these wide seats as I mentioned before, and I feel like I have plenty of room for my knees, and there's good adjustability when it comes to the steering for the driver as well. There's plenty of headroom despite having a sunroof, and there's other practicality boons in here as well. You get 4 USB ports, you get 2 12-volt outlets, and there's also an auxiliary in, and that's really good connectivity for a car in this segment as well. In terms of bottle holders, you've got a really large one in the door with a trench in there as well. You've also got 2 large bottle holders in the center here, a little cutaway here for maybe your keys or something, a really large center console box that houses those 2 extra USB ports and an extra 12-volt outlet. And under the climate unit here, you've also got a large tray, which is really handy for all the storage in here. Space in the back of the XV is unusually good for this segment as well. I'm sitting behind my own 182 centimeter tall driving position, and as you can see, I've got plenty of room for my knees and plenty of room for my head. Good things include the seat cladding and the door cladding, which is still soft here. That's really good. Where it all starts to fall down though is there's no adjustable air vents for rear passengers, nor are there power outlets that are easily accessible back here. There's a pocket in the doors, but it won't fit our large bottle here, but you can fit it in this drop-down armrest, if only just. They're a little shallow. One of the things we've never really liked about the XV is its relatively small boot. It comes in at the number you see on your screen now, but all you need to know is that it's a little bigger than some light SUVs in the class below, but smaller than most small SUVs which it competes with. Interestingly though, the hybrid version with its batteries under the floor doesn't manage to lose any luggage capacity. Instead, it does away with some fuel capacity and the space-saver spare wheel, worth considering if you're living regionally. The XV now has 2 engine options here in Australia. One is the carryover 2-litre non-turbo engine with modest outputs, while the other is a hybrid with a similar engine backed by an electrification system. It's a little down on power and instead has a relatively low output electric motor housed in the transmission to help drive the wheels. In practice though, this is quite a bit different to its Toyota rivals. So we'll kick off here with the non-hybrid, and straight away things are really good. There's a lot of traits of the XV which really suit Subaru as a brand. You're just sitting really tall, there's a really commanding view of the road, the wheel feels really nice underhand, and it also has a really natural steering feel. And that combined with the weight of the all-wheel drive and just the overall stance of the car makes it feel really confident and capable in the corners. And I really like that about it. Generally, the XV has really good suspension characteristics as well. That tall ride height and off-road capability make it more than capable of dealing with anything in the suburbs. That includes bumps, potholes, speed bumps, anything you can throw at it, it will be comfortable over around town. The XV is really good out on the open road as well. I've now spent 500 kilometers-ish behind the wheel of this particular non-hybrid, and I've got to say, on the freeway, it was a really good companion. It's comfortable with these seats, it's comfortable with the suspension. The noise does get up a little bit above 80 kilometers an hour, but it's not too bad. And importantly, those safety systems just make it a breeze when you're driving in open road, long distance traffic. Where the XV does differ from some of its rivals is that inherent all-wheel drive system is really good, and the over angle and clearance angles are really good too, and that just makes this car feel like it can deal with a little bit more when it comes to actually going off-road. So if you are wanting to venture somewhere ambitious, off-road, maybe on a little bit of sand, some mild gravel, stuff like that, this car will feel more capable. And so we've talked about how the XV is comfortable, how it's really great on the freeway, how that overkill off-road suspension will keep it really cozy over most of what the suburbs have to throw at it. But where it all falls down is that 2-litre engine. Those modest outputs just don't cut it. It doesn't have that powerful follow through of some turbocharged rivals. And it's not very smooth either. It does thrash up that rev range as it tries to get into its peak power band to pull you along. And it's just a relatively unpleasant sound to hear as well, which is such a shame to see because the other driving characteristics of this car are so good. Now let's go hop in the hybrid and see if that's any better. So when you hop behind the wheel of the hybrid, things aren't too different, and it's a little bit disappointing, and it's also a little bit notable because a lot of effort has gone into this car with its tri-battery setup and its electric motors, but it's just not quite the same, not quite as different as driving a Toyota hybrid. Where in the Toyotas you spend so much of your time driving around at low speed and at those sorts of stop-start traffic speeds with the electric motor running, here in the Subaru it relies on its engine much more. It's only in the most ideal of circumstances, when you're on the flat, that the electric motor inside that continuously variable transmission has enough power to pull this car along. Ultimately, it provides a lot less of that feedback as well. There's a little less you can tell, a little less transparency about what's going on with that electric motor inside that transmission, and it stops you from making the most of it as well. I feel like I'm not sure why the engine turns on. I'm not sure where the limit of my electric acceleration is either. And that's something that Toyota has so nailed that Subaru, you can tell their technology isn't quite that developed yet. Where the Hybrid XV is better than the regular version is it's a little bit more refined. That electric torque from the CVT transmission does help to take the stress off the underpowered engine and has it being a little less thrashy at all times. It also does a little bit more coasting when you're sort of coming up to the lights at those kind of low speed things, and when it does come to switch on, you get that brief moment of electric torque which stops anything from becoming too jolty when it comes to stopping and starting again, and that's nice to see too. One thing that all XVs do have now is drive modes, and you get two. There's S and I, and that's either sporty or intelligent, which sort of helps it save fuel. These modes can be handy as you've got that 2-litre underpowered engine, and the S mode can really sort of help it push off the line. But in the hybrid, it goes a little further than that again. In the hybrid, S mode is tied into the steering and the sensors in this car, and it helps to gear the transmission more accurately and use the electrical assist when you need to steer around corners and provide that electric boost in there. And that can make the car feel quite a bit more dynamic, and it's quite surprising to see. You can see it all work through the hybrid system as well, so it's not a useless feature, let's put it that way. So would I honestly recommend the hybrid based on its driving experience? Well, not necessarily. I still don't think it's worth the extra money, but it does help tidy some things up, some weak points in the XV drive experience, which are really welcome additions. It'll be nice to see where Subaru can take this technology from here. It's not such a great story here for the more expensive hybrid models, as their official fuel consumption number only trims a small amount of that of the regular petrol cars. Over our testing, I was surprised to find that not only was the hybrid's electric drive system seldom operating, but our hybrid car actually ended up using more fuel under more or less the same testing conditions as its non-hybrid counterpart. Check the numbers on screen now to see our as-tested figures compared to the official combined ones. Safety-wise, the Subaru XV is excellent so long as you stay away from that base car which elects not to have the excellent EyeSight safety suite. From the 2.0 IL up, you'll get freeway speed auto emergency braking with pedestrian and brake light detection, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist with lane departure warning, lead vehicle start alert, and an excellent wide-angle reversing camera. Upgrading to the 2.0i Premium will net you blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, rear emergency braking, a side view monitor, and an extra front view parking camera. All XV variants also get 7 airbags, and the range wears a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating to the 2017 standards. Subaru is on par with other Japanese manufacturers now with a 5-year and unlimited kilometre warranty promise. 12 months of roadside assist is included, and the XV is covered by a capped price servicing program for the life of the warranty. Services are required once every 12 months or 12,500 kilometres and are far from the cheapest we've seen, with an average price per visit of almost $500. You know when you get something really right the first time and you get to bask in the success of never having to go back and change anything? Well, that's how Subaru probably feels about its XV range. Even all these years on, it still feels just as modern as many of its rivals. And that's not to say that it's perfect. It still has some flaws. That 2-liter engine is underpowered. It could really do with a turbo. And to be honest with you, the maths don't really work out on the hybrid. But we love how the safety suite on this car is standard almost across the range. We love how it has its all-wheel drive standard across the range, and we love its driving dynamics and just generally the way the XV feels. Now, our pick of the range, the 2.0i Premium, that offers the lion's share of everything in the XV range, and you're not paying too much even against its competitors. But it doesn't matter whether you pick anything from the 2.0i L up, it's hard not to be charmed by this little SUV. Remember to read the full written review over on carsguide.com.au, where we cover off every variant in the XV range. And if you have enjoyed this video and want to see others like it, head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit like on this video, and hit the bell notification icon to stay up to date with all of our latest content.